Hello, 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 hello. So, yesterday I was having big issues doing battles in Canto 3. So, today I decided to actually watch the tutorial. Actual tutorial, I guess. Let's see here. This is a window capture. Invisible. This one. Like this. Move it down here. Blank the game. I should have moved this before opening the stream, but whatever. So, this is supposed to be the beta tutorial for Limbus Company by SGU, which is one of the, I guess, the biggest videos about Limbus. The usual recommendation by veteran players for new players, which I should have watched a while ago, but I didn't, and now I think I should. So let's see, what did I miss all this time? Because I know I've been missing a few mechanics and probably some other stuff. I think I've been reading the UI a bit too wrongly, I guess. Last stream I've been told I've been misunderstanding a lot of stuff, so this should be a better door for my experience in the game. So let's see.
Project Moon, I think your games are great and all, but everyone knows they have at least one common flaw, and that is their tutorials are generally pretty bad. Whether that be because they are overwhelming or just bad. Part of this is excused by your games being complicated, but with Limbus Company, I don't know how so many core mechanics were not explained or just flat out explained poorly. So today I'll be giving you a general tutorial.
I would say half the reason is the lack of visual connection from elements to mechanics. Like there is a moment in the tutorial that they ask you to chain two pride skills, but you have no idea what pride skills mean. Mostly I think the UI elements at that point are still locked, so you can barely see anything in that moment. I saw everybody I saw playing, new players playing, were basically waiting for an explanation what pride means at that point. I feel like half the reason it's so hard to understand is the lack of visual connection. There might be some other issues, and we might see them here. Let's see.
Tutorial for how to play Limbus Company, more specifically the combat portion of Limbus Company, since this seems to be the main point of confusion for a lot of new players. I'll be giving my overview in 3 sections, starting with general terminology and skills, then clashing, and lastly ego resources and ego. One very important thing to note is that it would be near impossible to actually cover every little thing about Limbus's combat, and I want this to be an efficient and reasonable starting point to allow new players to actually play the game and not just be terribly confused all the way up to Canto 3, like I was. So this will be a brief overview of the more simple mechanics, but I'll try to be as in-depth as possible into those mechanics so there's no confusion. Let's start by defining what a skill is. Skills are the most integral mechanic to Limbus Company, and they all have certain properties. They all have damage types, they all have a sin affinity, and they all have a base power and coins. Now let's go through what all of those mean. Damage types are pretty simple. There are 3 damage types in the game, and every skill has one of the 3. The 3 are Slash, pierce, and blunt. The main point of damage types are to take advantage of enemy weaknesses, as most enemies in the game are weak or fatal to certain damage types. Damage type is shown here on every skill. Next, the Sin Affinity, and there are 7 of these total. Wrath, Lust, Sloth, Gluttony, Gloom, Pride, and Envy. Like damage types, enemies can be weak to Sin Affinities, though generally this is reserved for larger boss enemies. We'll be coming back to Sin Affinities many times, since they will be important in the last section. For now, just try to familiarize yourself with the colors associated with the names. Now, base power and coins are far more important, and are not explained nearly well enough. The base power of a skill is found right here on the Sinner's information screen, or here in the combat UI. Same.
So I was really reading it wrong. I thought this was my... The 4 plus 5 was actually my coin rolls. But it's really is just damage. And the 100% is a damage boost. I was really wrong about that. Not that I doubt someone who had played the game before a lot more than me.
For enemy skills. This indicates what your skill's power is by default or without any coin power added on. Speaking of coins, every skill has at least 1. The number is represented by the coin icon above the skill. Another way to think of coins is just how many hits the skill does. Coins add power to the skill when they are flipped and hit heads. The amount added is determined by the coin power, seen right here. Before we go any further, let's talk about hitting heads and flipping coins. You flip coins whenever you engage in a clash or attack your opponent. The percentage chance to hit heads is 50% by default and is modified based on this number here, known as your sanity. It starts at 0 and can be raised or lowered in various ways, though I'll be talking about the main way to raise it in just a little bit. For now, all you need to know is that sanity increases your chance to hit heads by the number that it is. For example, at 20 sanity, you have a 70% chance to hit heads, and at maximum sanity, 45, you have a 95% chance to hit heads. This works the other way around. So at negative 36 sanity, you have a 14% chance to hit heads. The minimum amount of sanity is negative 45. Now here's an example of sanity in coins at work. Here is LCB Sinner Otis and her skill 1, Pulled Blade. This skill has a base power of 3 and 3 coins, each with a coin power of +2. Every coin indicates an instance of damage, so if Otis is attacking someone unopposed and hit heads, she will deal 5 damage. The actual calculation doesn't quite make it work out like that, but for the sake of simplicity, let's use the raw numbers as damage. So now we have used up one of our coins. The next one is flipped, and let's say we hit it tails. Our skill power stays at 5, and we attack again, dealing 5 more damage. Then the last coin flips, hitting heads, and we gained 2 more power to our skill and deal 7 damage. Then, since there are no more coins, the skill is over. Hopefully you're keeping up at this point, and if not, I would recommend just going into a battle knowing this information and seeing it work in real time. There's still plenty of things to talk about, of course. So you notice how in that Otis example I said it was her skill 1. Well, there are 4 types of skills in Limbus Company for your Sinners. The skill 1, 2, 3, and then the defensive skill. Your skill deck is laid out like so. You have 3 skill 1s, 2 skill 2s, and 1 skill 3. Defensive skills can be used at any time by pressing on the Sinner portrait. The in-game tutorial actually explains them in an alright way, but in case you missed it, there are 3 types of defensive skills: Guard, Evade, and Counter. Guard is very basic. It gives you a shield based on the number it rolls. Evade lets you dodge all incoming damage that is equal to or less than the number you rolled on your evade, and Counter only occurs once you have taken damage, then it attacks unopposed like a normal skill. There's a lot more that could be said about these skills, like how defensive skills don't trigger the effects of bleed, or how they change your defense levels with the modifier on the skill, but that's all way too niche and complex for a basic tutorial. More importantly, the skill deck setup I mentioned before. You can somewhat predict what you will have coming up on the dashboard based on these numbers. Mostly...
Hey buddy, I was learning, I'm actually learning something today. I decided it's time. I should actually watch the tutorial. I will probably watch the second he made, the second video he made, and try to, I guess, try to actually learn the game. Last time I was mistaken about a lot of stuff, so it's about time I actually understand what I'm doing.
You can know how long it will be until you have another skill 3, since there is only one.
Wait,
in your deck.
what? I think I missed something.
You can know how long it will be until you have another skill 3,
Oh, sure,
since
I
there
see.
is only one in your deck. If you have one early on, you need to cycle for a while till you get another one. It's because of this deck system that a strong skill 2 is generally the best thing for an ID to have, since they are far stronger than skill 1s and still 2 times more common than skill 3s. Before moving on to the next section, let's talk about resonance. If you've played the Limbus tutorial, you would know that an immense amount of focus was put on lining up multiple skills of the same affinity, since it would massively boost their power. This is pretty much
What?
just a blatant lie. Resonance and absolute resonance do
Wait, have I been lied to all this time? Do strength attacks?
strengthen your attacks, but it is not enough to really justify specifically chaining skills around it. So what does resonance
Oh, I
do?
see.
Well, to really explain that, I need to talk about Limbus's main mechanic, clashing.
So I see. It's about clashing.
Clashing is about as core
what?
a mechanic as you can get.
I'm really I'm really concerned about how my experience until now has been a lie. Watching this, I'll be damned by the end of this video. I think I've been lied to all this time. So win rate was not always a stupid idea, I guess.
It's the main way to avoid damage, and it is also your main way to gain sanity, which is obviously a good thing. Clashing works differently depending on what kind of battle you're in. In a regular fight, clashing happens by default as you drag the chain across the dashboard. Focused encounters are far more interesting to talk about. Clashes are initiating by selecting a skill and dragging it to the enemy's skill slot. You'll know you're in a clash with that enemy based on the UI above, and the text by your skill, which will read hopeless, struggling, neutral, favored, or dominating, based on your percentage chance to win the clash.
The hopeless made me remember my last mirror dungeon run. I did one yesterday to finish my weekly quota, and I managed to reach the last boss. That motherfucker was annoying as heck. Yeah, for some reason, everything I tried to do to him, I was hopeless all the time. I was managing to lose characters because every single time he was beating me in clashes, and I still have no idea what happened. I won because my bleed stacks were completely insane, I guess. My team being a bleed team, and I won from mechanics, I guess, from gimmicks. Because if I was trying to fight the fight normally, I would completely be destroyed. Yeah, someone was at my door, opened my door and just left. I don't know why. So I was out asking who was it. Just too many trials that make enemies clash. I still gotta learn how to do I was just picking bleed stuff and I didn't really know how to pick my items, boosters, and whatever it is. I might be also looking into a mirror dungeon guide or something later.
In a clash, you roll all of your coins in your skill, and so does your enemy. Then the total powers are compared against each other. The total at the end of the clash is your clash power. The higher clash power will win the clash, and a coin will be removed from the losing skill. This process repeats until a skill has no coins left, in which case the winning skill will then roll damage. Let me give some examples. First, a very simple example. Two single coin skills clash against each other. LCB Sinner Gregor's skill 2 is clashing against this guy and his single coin skill. Gregor is at 24 sanity, and by default, abnormalities have 0 sanity, so a 50% chance to hit heads. We will lose this clash if the abnormality hits heads, and we do not. We will also lose if the abnormality hits tails, and we also hit tails, since our base power is lower than theirs. Either way, our coins are rolled. Gregor did end up hitting heads, and so did the abnormality, but our final clash power is just high enough to win the clash and destroy their coin. Since their skill only had 1 coin, we now get to attack the enemy. Now another example. LCB Sinner Dawn is clashing against the same abnormality. She is using her skill 3 for Justice, which has 3 coins and a max roll of 12. The enemy is using a 4 coin skill, which has a base power of 3 and coin power of +2. Let's assume Dawn is at max sanity of 45. We can be pretty confident that Dawn will win this clash, since our max clash power is higher than the enemy's. However, in this example, we lost the first clash because the game is rigged, and only have 2 coins to continue the clash with, making our max roll now only 9. Thankfully, we then proceed to win the next 4 clashes, and our attack continues as normal, but with 1 less coin. Hopefully that all makes sense up to this point, because we're not done. All these numbers so far have just been using base power and coin power, but there's another pretty important factor in clashing, and that is offense level. Offense level is a stat that every ID has, but the formula is very simple. It is X plus offense level modifier, where X is the identity's level. Every ID has an offense level modifier, but the current range is -5 to +5, but no ID actually has -5. What offense level does is determine...
Who was that?
No ID actually has...
Zhonglu? It's probably a joke unit or something.
What offense level does is determine how much damage you do via a very complicated formula, but more importantly, it can determine the final clash power of the enemy or sinners. For this next example, let's use a level 10 LCB Sinner Ryoshu. She has a +2 offense level, meaning her offense level here is 12. She is facing this absolute loser who has an offense level of 5 on this skill.
Wait, what? It's actually his name.
She is facing this absolute loser.
Oh shit, you're not serious. Holy shit.
Who has an offense level of 5 on this skill. Ryoshu will use her skill 1, which has a floor of 3 and coin power of +7. Since the enemy has a skill with a ceiling of 5, it would normally be possible for us to lose this clash. However, for every 3 points of difference in offense level, and only every 3 points of difference in offense level, the one with the higher offense level gains +1 clash power for that clash.
That's a lot to remember.
Our skill effectively has a floor of 5, since we have 7 offense level over our opponent, translating to +2 in total clash power. We could always hit tails, and the enemy could always hit heads, and we would never be able to lose this clash due to the clash power boost from offense level. Offense level can vary per skill, but in combat you can always find it next to the skill description or up here. So long as you can recognize multiples of 3, you can understand offense levels. Offense level is also where resonance actually has a use. Specifically, absolute resonance of 3 will raise the offense level of all skills in the chain by 3, effectively raising their clash power by 1.
I see.
Alright, last thing on clashing for now. Sanity gain. You gain sanity either by killing higher level enemies or by winning clashes. In harder content, the much easier option of those two is winning clashes. The formula is incredibly simple. Since every skill has at least 1 coin, winning a clash against a single coin skill gives you 10 sanity. That is the base amount of sanity yield a clash can give you, since every clash must clash at least once. For every clash beyond 1, you then gain 20% more sanity. This translates to being 2 more sanity for every clash above 1, meaning clashing twice and then winning would give you 12 sanity, Clashing 3 times would give you 14, and so on. Ties are included in this, and do not lead to coins being destroyed on either side. So if you tie against your opponent in a clash and still end up winning in the end, you basically gained a bit of extra sanity for free. There are other factors that can affect clashes, such as attack power up and attack power down, but once you understand the core mechanics of clashing, everything else should come pretty naturally. Sometimes, though, there are clashes that you just can't win, because the enemy rolls too high. And in those cases, it's best to use Ego. Ego are strong skills that cost Ego resources and sanity to use. Ego resources correspond to Sin affinities. This means that if you use a skill with a Pride Sin affinity, it will give you 1 Pride Ego resource. You can see what an Ego costs in various places, but the most common place will be here, once you have opened the Ego menu by holding down on the Sinner portrait. There are 5 different levels to Ego, generally indicating how strong they are, but currently only 3 of them actually have Ego, those being Zayn, Teth, and He, though that will change very soon. Everyone starts off with 12 Ego, all at the Zayn level, with 1 Ego per Sinner. These are referred to as the base Ego, and you can see them all on screen right now. For further examples, I'll be using Don Quixote's base Ego, La Sangre de Sancho, and Hong Lu's base Ego, Land of Illusion. Starting with Dawn's base Ego, we can see that it costs 10 Sanity, as well as 2 Lust and 2 Pride Ego resources. At Threadspin level 3, which will happen automatically as you progress through the story, Dawn's base Ego has a floor of 12 and a coin power of plus 11. This means it has a ceiling of 23, which is far more powerful than the majority of skills. Important to note is that, so far, every Ego is a single coin skill, meaning if you happen to lose a clash with it even once, it will be immediately used up. Of course, while the actual effects of the Ego are one of the main benefits of them, it would be difficult to talk about every effect and what they do in this tutorial, so instead I'll talk further about their mechanics in battle. The biggest misconception by far is about how Egos spend sanity. They only spend sanity once you use them to attack. So, for example, if you are at 45 sanity, or max sanity, and you use La Sangre de Sancho in a clash, you have a 95% chance to hit heads still. Then, once you win the actual clash, 10 sanity is spent, and you have an 85% chance to hit heads on the actual attack. Something else to be aware of is that Ego themselves give an Ego resource, meaning Ego that cost 4 resources are technically only a net loss of 3. Now, let's use a different example. Hong Lu's Land of Illusion Ego is much more unique. It costs 5 Gloom and 1 Lust resource to use, meaning it costs 6 resources total. More importantly, this Ego has 3 attack weight. Attack weight works as an AoE mechanic, where every enemy's skill slot has a certain amount of weight, and you hit as many targets as your attack weight allows. For a very simple example, you have 3 enemies you are facing, and they all have 1 skill slot with 1 slot weight. If you use Land of Illusion or any 3 attack weight Ego, you will hit all 3 targets, since you have just enough attack weight to hit everyone. In a different example, let's say the first enemy has 2 skill slots, both with 1 attack weight, and the other enemies have 1 skill slot each. So the first enemy is the first target in this case, you use 2 attack weight on them, and then your last attack weight is wasted on the second enemy, meaning you only hit 2. There is a lot of nuance to attack weight and plenty of tricks to it, but this is a simple overview of how it functions. So far, I've only talked about base Ego, but let's use a non-base Ego for an example, since they have a mechanic that base Ego just straight up don't. I'll be using Otis's Ebony Stem Ego as an example here. First of all, this is a He Ego. It costs 20 sanity to use and 10 resources total. 4 Pride,
Damn.
Gluttony, 2 Lust, and 1 Gloom. You can see the effects of the Awakening version of the Ego on screen now, but what we care about is the other kind of version, the Corrosion version. Every non-base Ego has both an Awakening and Corrosion.
So this was a mechanic the tutorial told me about, and I still don't know anything about. Oh, let's see.
Version to them. The Awakening is the default version of the Ego, and the Corrosion version can be accessed in a few ways. Number 1, corroding entirely by reaching negative 45 SP. This is very rare, barring some exceptions. But yes, once you reach negative 45 SP, you lose control of your character, and they will use the corroded version of the Ego. Number 2, attempting to use an Awakening Ego below 0 sanity. This leads to a percentage chance for your Ego to corrode, shown here. And 3, the most popular way by far is overclocking. You see, most corrosion ego have this pesky little red text that says indiscriminate, meaning you cannot control where it aims. This is a problem because, well, hitting your team with strong attacks instead of the enemy is generally very counterproductive. The other two ways to activate corrosion lead to most ego being indiscriminate, but overclocking removes that downside. To overclock an ego, you simply click and hold on it. This will cost 1.5 times the resources and sanity. This gives you access to the sometimes very powerful corrosion versions of ego with control over their targeting. However, you do only remove the indiscriminate text. If the corrosion has the specification of targets randomly, like Faust's Hexnail ego, it will still target randomly, but it will not target allies. Two more small things for ego. Firstly, every ego comes with a set of resistances to sin affinities. By default, your sin resistances are based on your lowest level ego. So, for most sinners, that will be your base ego. You change sin resistances the moment you use another ego, and they can always be seen on this menu or on the Sinner tabs menu. Lastly, ego passives. These activate the turn after you use an Awakening ego or immediately upon using a Corrosion ego. Then they will be active for the rest of the fight, and you can stack as many as you have unique ego to use. And...
Wait, what? Oh, I see. Huh. Sure. I think I get it.
That's about everything important for ego. Now, I'll talk a bit more about ego resources, since being used in ego is not the only thing they are good for. Once IDs reach Pt.2 and 3 respectively, they gain passives and support passives. These come in two flavors: resonance passives and own passives. Resonance passives are pretty simple and relate to resonance. They require the listed amount to be present on the dashboard per turn to activate, but they do not require to be right next to each other. Owned passives require the amount of resources to be present in your ego resource bank. There are a number of ego that gain benefits based on your stored resources as well, but outside of ego, passives and support passives are the main mechanic that rely on your stored ego resources or the affinities present on the dashboard. And that is it. About as brief an overview as one could really give for Limbus Company's combat. There is still plenty I could talk about, like how final power, skill power, base power, and attack power all essentially mean the same thing, despite being used interchangeably for some reason just to be confusing, or, more importantly, how you can choose which sinners will get an extra skill slot in combat based on the order you choose them in. But honestly, I wanted this to be even shorter than what it is now. So, if you still want to learn more about Limbus, I can recommend some of my other videos that talk about other mechanics. Specifically, What Makes a Tank talks about the tank role in Limbus at large.
I might want to watch this. I have a tank I still don't know how to use.
Video on Sunshower Heathcliff explains one of the more complicated IDs in the game, and if you're at that point in the game,
if I do watch this will be probably off stream.
An idea of what upties are valuable. If enough people want, I may make a follow-up to this video.
Let's see the intermediate one. Yeah, I was already moving to it.
As Limbus Company continues to improve in every...
The first part had a few things I actually didn't know. So this one might be a little hard to chew. If it's as complex as the first one was, in terms of numbers. Let's see how it goes.
Aspect, be that story, ID animations, or basically anything else in the game, it begs an important question. Why is the tutorial still so bad? Well, as much as I wish I had an answer to that question, I don't. So I figured I would take it upon myself to finally make...
What?
Answer to that question, I don't. So I figured...
Oh, I see.
I would take it upon myself to finally make a long-awaited sequel to my first tutorial video from a few months ago. That video is basically mandatory to watch before this one, since it covers the basic rundown of Limbus Company's mechanics, whereas this video will build upon that foundation and continue to elaborate on the very simple, yet horribly explained mechanics of this game. This is the intermediate tutorial, which means I'll be talking about things that are still pretty essential for understanding Limbus, but nothing too niche or obscure. We aren't wading in the kiddie pool anymore, but this also isn't even close to the deep end. I would recommend at least having played all of Canto 1 before watching this video, so you are more familiar with the combat. But even if you are completely new, I have tried to make everything in this video as clear and accessible as possible. So, just like that first video, I'll be taking this tutorial in 3 segments. Number 1, speed, targeting, and skill slots. 2, status effects. And 3, team building. Also, like the previous tutorial, I will be unable to cover absolutely everything when it comes to these 3 topics, but the idea is to give enough of an overview that after these 2 videos, you can at least say, I kind of sort of maybe understand Limbus Company now. Maybe.
Maybe.
Now, this first segment is something that probably should have been in the very first tutorial, but you can't really blame me because on a surface level, speed is a very simple mechanic. Every ID has a
Let's learn how to play the game today.
Tapping and holding on the ID in the center tab and looking down here. As of making this video, the lowest speed range is 2 to 3, and the highest is 5 to 8, with an average speed range being around the 4 to 6 or 3 to 7 mark. Every turn in combat, you roll a speed value within that ID's given speed range, assuming no modifiers of course, and that value can be seen next to the ID's skill slots or on the bottom of the dashboard here. Speed can be used for multiple things, often conditionals on certain IDs, but the main thing is for redirecting clashes in combat. IDs with a higher speed value than the enemy can redirect attacks in focused encounters. Again, simple concept, but fundamental to understand. Speed matters far less in regular encounters since you can't manipulate your targeting nearly as much. Going back to focused encounters though, there's quite a bit more to talk about when it comes to redirecting.
This one was a mechanic that I think I got it. I think I got it pretty well. So I'm okay. I think I won't learn anything from this.
Focused encounter.
But I also thought the first video wouldn't teach me anything. But I was a bit too naive, I guess.
This little up-and-coming sous chef. Sous Chef Bongi is ready to unleash his primal Bongi Blast, which has a base power of 3 quadrillion, a coin power of 1, and infinite attack weight. Naturally, this attack is completely unclashable, and if you were to hit win rate, you would lose this battle, but lucky for you, Sous Chef Bongi is on low HP and rolled a 1 on speed. Since the Primal Bongi Blast is the only skill being used by him this turn, we can redirect that skill so that the IG going last on our team, in this case Base Hong Lu, would be clashing against it. But since everyone else on our team is faster than Bongi, he will be long dead before he can expedite the annihilation.
Wait. One thing I've noticed. If I redirect with a slow character, I can use the faster characters as unopposed. I think this is it, right? I always assumed if you targeted one character, a slower character, and you then targeted the faster character to the same attack, the faster character would then clash first. So I was mistaken about this. So I see. I'm learning.
The human race
this is nice.
Before he hits us. This concept, which I call redirecting downwards, can be a lifesaver in fights where you can't just clash and win. The idea is to delay an enemy's attack.
Man, I just talked about this. I just talked about how the wolf was clashing me to death. I knew I was going to die because most of my clashes, I would fail the clashes. But if I knew I could just go all in with my faster characters and then clash the single move I knew I was gonna lose, I could actually do a lot more damage to the boss before taking the damage and actually dying, because I actually lost like half my roster that battle. This would be so nice to know, but I guess now I know. So for next time I do a full mirror dungeon, I'm in the know now.
Until they are dead or staggered, but it will only work if you can do so before the enemy would use their attack, either due to being faster than your team or by reaching the skill that will clash against that attack. This is a pretty big part of why extremely slow IDs are less good than fast ones. Being outsped by an enemy means you have less control, and you can't just rush them down with all you've got in certain scenarios. But that's enough about speed and enemy target manipulation. Let's talk about other kinds of manipulation, like how I will subtly manipulate you into subscribing by quickly shilling, or how you can manipulate the targeting of skills with attack weight. I talked about this in my Railway 3
Do it as well, chat.
guide, but let me give a clearer explanation now. As I talked about in the first tutorial, which you definitely watched and fully remember to the point you could pass a high school level quiz on it, attack weight is a representation of how many targets you can hit. In regular encounters, this will just hit whoever it can, really. There's no way I know of to change targets in human fights, but in focused encounters, attack weight's quirks are revealed. Beyond the main target, also known as the target you drag the arrow to from the skill itself, extra attack weight will prioritize untargeted skill slots. This means that before you use an ego with attack weight, you can target every slot of an enemy that you don't want to hit with AoE, forcing the extra attack weight onto other body parts or enemies. Afterwards, you can then remove the arrows, just don't mess with the ego beyond that, because that will reset the targeting. Tying nicely into this concept is slot weight, which determines how much attack weight a skill slot takes up when targeted. This is 1 by default, of course, but plenty of abnormalities or bigger-boned individuals take up 2 slot weight instead. This means that no matter what you do, a 3 attack weight ego would only be able to hit 1 other target, and so on for further amounts of attack weight. Speaking of transitioning to the next topic, skill slots, specifically gaining more of them. In regular encounters, up to 12 skill slots can be gained, and the order in which IDs gain them is determined by the order you choose them in on the Sinner select screen. The first selected ID will get a second skill slot first, and so on. This will loop back around once every ID in battle has 2 slots. But regular encounters almost never last long enough to where it would ever loop around to give IDs 3 slots unless you bring in less than the maximum amount of IDs, but this is generally never worth it, in my opinion. Once again, focused encounters give us a far more interesting scenario to use this in. In focused encounters, extra skill slots are not gained by default if you bring in the max amount of sinners. You can view that max number instead as the maximum number of skill slots you can have in that encounter total. This means if you have an encounter that allows 6 sinners total, bringing in 4 sinners would give 2 of them 2 skill slots, based on who you selected first and second, and in that order. So on turn 2, the sinner you selected first would have 2 skill slots, then turn 3, the sinner you selected second would have 2 skill slots. I find that for a lot of newer players, resources are often invested into only 1 or 2 IDs, which makes sense. But giving those IDs extra actions for the encounter can be the difference between struggling on a fight or absolutely dominating it.
Sure. Okay, I don't think it will be helpful for me, at least.
Fast, since you are taking double the amount of clashes. I would highly recommend taking advantage of this if you are struggling on any focused encounters, especially if they just so happen to allow an abnormal amount of sinners into battle. You can sacrifice some minimal turn 1 damage for long-term benefits. Some IDs are much better candidates for second skill slots than others, and while that could be a video in its own right, I'll just put on screen some examples of IDs that are particularly good to double slot, with some reasoning that you might not fully understand yet, but
I have
anyone
none
you
of
have that is
those.
leveled uptide highest is gonna be your best option. Status effects are a topic I saw a lot of people asking about in the comments of the first tutorial, and I never really thought about it, but Limbus, once again, does not explain the fundamentals of a core gameplay mechanic very well. I think at this point, there are far more poorly explained ones than well-explained ones. There are 7 main status effects: burn, bleed, tremor, rupture, sinking, poise, and charge. Most IDs fall into one of these 7 archetypes, so it's nice to know what each of them do, but first, let me talk about the universal mechanics for these statuses. First of all, every one of these statuses has potency and count. The potency is shown on the left side of the effect, and usually indicates how much...
Which one? Left side. Sure.
much damage will be dealt by the status / how strong it is. On the right is the count. This indicates how many times the status can be triggered before falling off. For example, let's look at Burn. This is a damaging status, and it deals damage on turn end by the potency, then lowers the count by 1. This is the simplest damaging status to understand, since if burn potency is at 46, that's right, 46 damage would happen at turn end, and then the count would be reduced by 1. Bleed isn't quite as simple, but it is another damaging status that uses potency and count, but it triggers whenever a full clash occurs, or also known as whenever a coin is broken on either side or a tie happens, or whenever a coin is rolled in an actual attack. Just like Burn, the bleed potency indicates the amount of damage that will be dealt, and the count will be how many times it can trigger before falling off. Tremor is certainly a more unique status, since it doesn't do any damage. Instead, Tremor relies on Tremor Burst, a separate effect that often goes hand in hand with Tremor. When Tremor is bursted, the target's nearest stagger threshold is raised by the Tremor potency. Stagger thresholds are a whole other rabbit hole, but thankfully they're pretty simple to give an overview on. Let's say we had an enemy with 100 HP flat. Almost every single enemy in the game has at least one stagger threshold, and when their HP is equal to or below the stagger threshold, they become staggered. So with this enemy here, their stagger threshold is at 80 health. So if we were to have 24 Tremor on the opponent and then burst it, they would immediately be staggered regardless of damage dealt, since the stagger threshold is raised up to 104, and their HP is then lower than the stagger threshold. Tremor's count also reduces by 1 at the end of every turn, just like Burn does, and no, bursting Tremor does not innately reduce the Tremor count, though that is a common misconception. Rupture and Sinking are both pretty similar in their function. Rupture is a damaging status, and Sinking is a hybrid between a damaging status and a debuff. Rupture simply deals damage by its potency whenever the target is hit, then reduces count by 1. Sinking is a little bit more complicated since it has two different modes. The first mode is against enemies with Sanity, where Sinking will deal Sanity damage by its potency on hit, then reduce count by 1. This is the debuff mode I mentioned, but on enemies without Sanity, usually abnormalities, Sinking deals Gloom damage by its potency on hit, then reduces count by 1 all the same. This means Rupture deals true damage, unaffected by damage type or sin resistances, but Sinking, while it can deal less damage, can also deal up to 2 times more damage if the target is particularly weak to Gloom. Then we have Poise and Charge. These stand out as different from the other 5 statuses since they are non-damaging, like Tremor, and they are even stranger because they are not inflicted, but rather gained. Poise first, and this status effect allows you to deal critical damage at a 5% chance per Poise potency. This means at 20 Poise potency, every single hit you do will be a critical hit. You may be wondering, well, what does a critical hit do? Well, going by trends of other video games, you might think it's something like 2 times damage, 1.5 times damage, but in Limbus, a critical hit is only 20% more damage than a normal hit. Poise count is reduced every time a critical hit is landed, and is also reduced by 1 on turn end, like Burn or Tremor. Despite the low damage bonus, this is the best status to run overall if you're depressed, because it makes a really nice noise whenever you crit, so always be sure to run Poise whenever possible in order to fill your daily dose of dopamine. Charge is the last main status effect to talk about, and is the most different by far. Not only is it gained instead of inflicted, but as of this video, Charge potency can't be gained, outside of the initial 1 potency that comes alongside gaining count, since you can't have a 0 on either the potency or count for any of these statuses. Instead, Charge is just count, and what's more, Charge count does nothing. Charge is...
Now it does? But it's good? I saw people talking about which debuff was better, and Charge wasn't really up there. Poise, I saw a lot of people talking decently about Poise. W Corp Otis? Sure. I'll take a note about that name.
It's just a number, and it is usually spent by IDs that have Charge in their kit for some kind of benefit, or you must have a certain amount of Charge stored up for certain effects to occur. This is a very case-by-case status, but it is by far the most basic because it is just a number that goes up and down. So those are the main statuses, but there are so goddamn many status effects that I am sure I was unable to scroll through all of them, even though I'm intentionally talking slower in this part of the video so that I can show off as many of them as possible on screen. Yeah, that was probably not even half of them. None of the non-core status effects have count, and instead only have potency, or a value, and just go away whenever the turn ends. Some of the actually important ones to know are Paralyze, Fragile, Haste/Bind, and Aggro. Paralyze reduces coin power to 0 and affects as many coins as the potency. This status, as I mentioned, only lasts for one turn, so leftover Paralyze would not carry over to the next turn, unlike all of the main statuses which would. Fragile increases damage taken by 10% per stack, which is useful for dealing more damage. Once again, my insightful commentary is truly unmatched. Haste increases your speed by the value for a turn, Bind decreases speed by the value, and Aggro is really odd. I made a video a while ago where I tried my best to explain Aggro, but frankly, even that is borderline speculation. Aggro is a special status effect that is gained upon using skills generally found on tanky IDs. In focused encounters, IDs with aggro are meant to be targeted more often, and while that can certainly be the case, it's common knowledge that this is a very inconsistent status effect, and it only comes into play at Uptype 4, but I felt it was worth mentioning since it is quite prevalent. I can't really give you more specific stats than that, since I would just be guessing at that point, but that is the general gist of what it should do. I really could go on and on about status effects, but my biggest advice is to just read them. Even if it's just at a glance, since some of them are very important to general gameplay, and especially some notable fights.
Will I finish Canto 3 today? I will try. I did some grinding yesterday, so I think I can at least clear the stage I was having problems with yesterday. But I don't know if I'll manage to actually full clear the chapter. I'll go however far I can go. If I manage to clear the 16th stage, I may farm a bit of XP to at least match the levels the stages are asking me to be. But I think today I will do a bit better.
That you might get stuck on.
I got the Heathcliff event one.
Now this is a big one.
And he's probably a lot better than what I was using.
Make a whole detailed video explaining the ins and outs and ups and downs. In short, there's no one-size-fits-all advice here. Limbus is easy enough for at least the first 3 Cantos to use whatever ragtag team of ragtag IDs you have and still win pretty handily, especially if you remember that you can double slot IDs if you need. But what, in general, makes a good team?
You got
Again,
Ishmael?
this is
Nice.
what you want, and in my opinion, there's roughly 3 team archetypes. 1, a status team, 2, an ego team, or 3, the strongest shit you could find. Since you know
I'm still holding all my stuff for anniversary.
Making one of those main status effects.
I still don't know how it happens, how anniversary goes. So I'm hoping to have a lot of resources to do some polls when it happens.
If you're a new player, I would not recommend going all in on a status team unless luck just so happens to favor you and give you a whole bunch of IDs for one archetype. And, of course, you enjoy it. If you are insistent on building a status, Poise is the easiest by far in the current state of the game due to the massive amount of Poise IDs, and statuses you gain instead of inflict are always going to be less tricky due to less RNG factors being involved. The one I would least recommend has to be Bleed, since it has very specific...
my ass! This is from how much long ago? 9 months ago. So 3 of my units are full blades, and I'm using 1 Rupture Sinclair and 1 Rupture Honglu. And now you tell me Blade is probably the least recommended.
Requirements for a very
now I'm too deep right now.
On the other hand, ego teams are much more general and reliable in their usage. These are teams you build in order to fuel ego, whether that be multiple, just one, or even every single ego you have access to on that team. Starting out, you will only have the 12 base ego, and these are the cheapest, costing either 4 resources or 6 resources. However,
So I guess the team recommendations won't be as helpful, I guess. Mostly because the meta changed at this point, I guess. Is there anything else I should look into here? I'm gonna skip this because I don't think it will be as helpful.
However, what makes an ID strong might still not be entirely clear to you at this point in the game. For general purposes, the biggest things you want to look at are the amount of coins and the numbers. I hate to say it, but 9 times out of 10, the effects are usually third in importance to raw damage, with the exception of certain status teams and some specific conditionals on specific skills. As discussed in the first tutorial, more coins means more hits, means more damage, and higher clashing / higher offense level means better odds to get the damage off and not take any damage back, as well as easier ways to get sanity. Really, there are a million tier lists out there, and while they will all tell you various things, these are the fundamentals, and I cannot recommend enough that you come to your own conclusions based on them, rather than just foaming at the mouth for an ID strength tier list from some random person on the internet, which will probably include me soon, but that's not relevant. Even on a team of the strongest IDs, it is important to fuel at least a few ego, which should just happen by chance, but it is worth checking.
Which I'm not. I have barely any egos.
To be sure.
I might use a fill now,
shows you the amount of a
but I
resource you have on your
guess I still barely can use some.
Skill 1 as 3 of a resource, skill 2 as 2 resources, and a skill 3 as 1. And the amount needed for your equipped ego total on the right. Don't get it wrong though. Having a bunch of a certain resource can be a good thing, and better than a wide sin spread. If you just plan to spam 1 or 2 ego that cost a lot of those resources, or in fringe cases, only costs that one resource, then that's just better. Ultimately though, the best team building advice I can give is to not worry about it too much until you start struggling or reach just around Canto 4. At that point, you should have acquired enough IDs and some ego, whether that be from gambling your life away or from the battle pass. Once you actually have an ego or ID you wish to build around, that's when you can start to theorycraft. Since when your options are so limited near the beginning of the game, there's just not much to be done, and there's not much to be said. And that concludes the intermediate tutorial, and basically, all of the essential—
Yeah, I think I got the point. I learned some new mechanics, and I think this will be helpful. I just gotta remember the stuff. That's a lot to remember. Some of the skills are about losing the clash, summoning to game reuse. Yeah, the game crashed again. Oh, fuck my ass. Let me reboot the game. For some reason, if I leave the game open, it will crash for no reason. At least it's pretty quick to reopen the game if it actually crashes. So let's try to do it again. Now I have the Kurokomo Heathcliff, which also interacts with Bleed. I can up-tie one him, but I think I should up-tie 3 the princess first. She's already 2. Let me retry that same stage I was having issues with. Now it shouldn't be an issue. If I lose, we will have to go back to the farming stages. Once again. Once again. Oh boy. Sure. Come on, struggling already? Can you use support? I'm just trying to see what's changed. If I use the support right now, I'm basically stomping the stage with help. So I just wanna see what happens first. If the new units actually does anything to help me. But I'm having a lot of issues with clashes again. And I feel half the reason I'm losing is me losing clashes all the time. Consider using defense when you can win the clash. I forgot. I completely forgot. And I know she has a bleed. Her bleed reduces bleed count by 3. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. So I should be using what this do? The power. It's okay, she will attack twice, and I actually want her to remove the bleed. And it's also an orange envy? Or it's lust? I think it's lust. Dominating, struggling, unopposed, unopposed, unopposed. I think this will be okay. I'm using defense with Rhodia specifically because she can counter. And she removes bleed from other characters, and I noticed Ishmael was bleeding. I don't really understand the mechanics from the princess, but I think sometimes using her defense is okay. Let's me this one. It's an opposed favorite. Oh, so we are actually winning. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. For the bigger number, when it's unopposed, the number next to the icon is the estimate. Yeah, I was just going to for the clashes. I should pay more attention to unopposed attacks, really. It's like I'm really Sometimes I'm just trying to go fast. I should pay more attention to it, really. So this one was pretty okay now.
아니야, 이렇게 크게 웃으면 안 돼.
Oh, new battle stage. Come on, come on. Just give me some talking. Oh, 20. Wait, what? Why is it easier? Why is it easier? Okay. Prosthetic bodies pile up like a landfill in a corner of the town. I could see that some of them were still conscious, letting out pained moans. The Inquisitors paid no heed. They strenuously jammed nails through each of the victims' chests over and over, executing their pure intent. I've surely pierced their hearts, yet still a pulse remained in their body. It must be patched with steel. Even the core of their humanity has been tainted by heresy. How filthy. A disgrace to flesh and bone. I am under level by 3, yes I am. I'm trying to not spend as much until 316. Because I'm just about to unlock the new stage, and the new stage will give me a lot more probably a lot more resources for the same amount of enkephaline? Stamina? I don't know how you call it. But I'm right there, right? I'm right there. I should be okay holding back for a few more stages. Just a bit more. Just a bit more. It's just like not using rare items on an RPG if you know there's a big boss coming. Because I will be getting a lot more stuff if I just win these 2 stages. The Inquisitor began carefully pouring a bottle of liquids over the prosthetic person in what looked like a solemn ritual. Judging from the pungent smell, it was most certainly oil. Imbibe the oil of humanity, your heretical soma. Those who cannot return to the earth find solace in scattering into smoke. I'm a hoarder in games, yeah, I'm too, I know. This is an issue. I've tried to not care as much recently. But it's right there, it's right there. I know I should be leveling up. Yeah, I know. Even in games I actually know everything about, I always hold back the items because I've done this before. I can do this time again, right? It's just, it's an issue and I know it's... I can stop it anytime I want. A lit match was then thrown on the pile, letting rise a huge flame. With the sounds of sparks flying about, the air is soon filled with an acrid smell. It's not quite like the smell of burning flesh. The spreading fire finally brings the crackling glimmer in those prosthetic bodies to permanent darkness. If this hellscape is the ideal purification, I'd rather stay unclean. Nagel Unhammer has always been devoted to scrutinizing the idea of humanity. Some criticize prosthetic use, as they believe that pain is a necessary component of the human experience. However, it never escalated to the extent of direct action that we are witnessing now. I've been meaning to ask, how do you know so much about Encore? I was once employed by Encore. Oh boy. What? You used to work with those people? I have never worked with those specific individuals, but in terms of affiliation you can say that I did. Come to think of it, this might be the first time I've heard Merceau actively talk about himself. Even his bio has basically no info. He would readily recount anything related to him. Perhaps he felt it wasn't necessary to speak at all. Why didn't you tell us that earlier? You carry one of those freaky weapons then? Am I obligated to elaborate? The hell? Why don't you explain what makes you different from those nutters then? Listen, mate. As much as I'd like to call all daft manager Clockface, I don't think they deserve by any means to be on the stake or chopping block. Those burgers talk big about purifying and all that, but all I see are a bunch of loonies who just needed an excuse to kill, eh? Speak up then. Are you like those screw loose bucketheads? There was a time when I thought about such things, though I did not come to a conclusion. I want that damn conclusion now. Are you gonna up and butcher all the townsfolk if your manager just says so? Must I give an answer? That does not aid us in handling our work. An employee must follow their employee's orders. The terms Virgilius presented state as much. It's even more logical than Faust, I guess. It's like he has only one tone, and his tone is serious. It's like... I have no judgment from him still. He's just there. If the manager orders me to do such a thing, I will do it. I may provide my input if I'm told that it is necessary, but I do not have the habit of rambling my thoughts unprompted. Pardon? Are you round the twist? Do you got a chunk of metal for your brains like the folks here? I am 16% protein, 60% water, 7% minerals, and so forth. I am clearly different in terms of composition. He also cannot take a joke. Moreover, unnecessary heavy metals do not comprise any portion of my body. That is another difference. Heathcliff's face contorted with frustration. Mersault was already an enigma, and he only felt ever more distant after this conversation. Now that you mention it, there's something I've been wondering. I've been thinking on whether Manager Dante should be seen as human. What do you mean? What if, when dear Dante is speaking, it's actually the clock and not the person we know as Dante behind those words? You're trying to tell me we're being led by an actual clock? Good grief, you're reaching uncharted depths of idiocy with your theories. I can't even be bothered to refute them. Don't misunderstand, I do like our Dante with the clock headness. Honestly, same. Why don't you just give up finding your old head and stick with that one? I know it's probably not gonna be the case, but what if Dante's real head turned out to be a super evil or something? We know he was a big shot or something, Virgilius told us. He was a big name or something. He just does not remember at all. Well, there's only one of us who knows about our manager Bird's past. Gregor's eyes naturally fell on Faust. Faust also knows, probably, if she's close with Virgilius. That's confidential information. Its access is restricted to the highest security level. Oh, he is a big deal. He is a big deal. And I get the feeling I won't be able to read for myself. It's only natural. I have no idea who or what I was originally so I had nothing at my disposal to refute Honglu's light-hearted accusation. Maybe he's right, and I really am just a clock. Even if I ask Faust, there is no telling if she'll give me a real answer, and I wouldn't be able to discern the truth in such a thing either. There is even a slim chance that the real Dante is hidden away somewhere, and that I'm some advanced imitation trained to believe that I have free will. Okay, In any case, sitting here and ruminating won't get me anywhere. Who knows? Maybe I'll mount this thing on the wall when I find my real head. Ishmael sent me a chastising glare for even suggesting something like that, but she had no choice other than to shrug. Well, it is true. Ah, the struggling always gets me. Yeah, my chances are so low. I gotta actually remember which skills are the stronger ones. I should look at the damage. I was not looking at the damage. 6-4. Lower damage, but it's fine. Dominating, neutral, favored. Neutral, unopposed. 27, 36.
추잡하네.
40.
I am trying to think about the best way to go through the battles. I'm still really not used to it. So this one, 20 is 59. The damage should actually stack a lot higher. These ones I have no choice, and you 14, 42. Even if the damage level is lower, the rupture will proc probably.
그대로 멈춰라. 이 정도로 나와 겁을 맞대? 이 정도로 나와 겁을 맞대?
When it's clashing the number next to the icon, is that Smith's clash number?
다시 복구하긴 완전히.
For clash values, I'm looking to the coin flips. And for damage, I'm looking to the right to the skill value. 316. This is the one stage I was looking forward to clearing. 24. It should be doable. Should be doable. I'll probably have a second look at the tutorial video. I think I'm remembering stuff wrong again. It's gonna take me a while to remember stuff. I see. Oh boy. Okay, what should we do now? If we move quietly, we might be able to pass by the other Inquisitors unnoticed. Dante, I'd like to apologize in advance. As you know, I'm not as experienced in fighting like the others. Our foes might jab me in the heart over and over for that. Will you bear that for me? Sinclair was trembling so badly that it would be pitiful for anyone to witness. I could tell he was desperately trying to suppress his fear. It wouldn't be the first time Sinclair has died. Whenever he bit the dust, I made sure to bring him back. But today, he's nearly asking for my understanding. He looked determined to confront them directly, even if it means he'll die again and again. A feeling quite unlike the fights a usual battle evokes. Maybe he's holding the kind of fear that comes with a certain courage. In that case... Are you scared, Sinclair? Sinclair suddenly turned around and gave me a startled look. Did you say something weird? Did I say something weird? No, it's just... I was reminded of a friend who asked me the same question.
생각나서요.
Sinclair opened his mouth after a brief pause. His voice cracked.
전 히스클리프 씨
I
말에
agree with what Heathcliff said.
의체 머리를 가지고 있어도
Prosthetic head or not, you would be the same person regardless, Dante.
그리고
I guess the same could be said for my family.
또 마찬가지였겠죠.
Thanks, Sinclair. Oh,
아니에요.
it's nothing. I can't have you be too thankful when I'm about to make you suffer by throwing my life away, haha. Just as I realized that I forgot to ask what he said in response to the same question his friend had. Sinclair had already charged into the fray. Oh, he's kinda going nuts. So here, I was looking like 4 plus 6 is my clash value. This one is 3 plus 4. He has 3 plus 3. 3 coins, but my total is still higher than his. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. So the value there, the 4 to 16 is my clash value. I see. Oh, I see what I'm reading wrong. Sure, unopposed. When looking at unopposed skills, this is clash value. No, this is damage. So 51. For clashes, this one is a lot better. And this one is unopposed. The blue one has a lot more damage, so I think I got it. I think I got it. It just takes a lot of getting used to it. A lot of getting used to it. Unopposed, struggling, 9 to 12. Oh shit. Neutral, shit. That's a lot of struggling. She's going after the staggered enemy. Sure, I have no actual choice, I guess. Yeah, the strugglers are getting me destroyed here. 15 to 12. Unopposed. He has no bleed. My damage is higher, but is it worth? I don't think so. Damage is lower. No, the clash is a lot higher. I see. It's okay. They are struggling a lot. Some units are destroying everybody and some units are going really badly. And I forgot to see who was it. Hello, D2. I'm still learning how to play this freaking game. It's pretty hard to... So now I have 4 bleed, 5 bleed. This one is okay, 80 damage. But it's gonna kill anyway, I don't need to use it. So who's struggling again? It's Honlu, it's always Honlu probably. How so? This game is freaking hard. There's so many mechanics. So I'm just like, it's chapter 3 of like 7, I think. and I have a pretty decent team, but I still am going down to not knowing how the mechanics work. There is a lot of stuff you have anyone as a mentor? No, I was trying to actually learn the game. The thing is, people know this game is pretty damn hard, and it's kinda badly explained.
적출할게요.
The fun I had was actually trying to learn the game.
40.
It has a lot of things to do and a lot of things to pay attention to. It's a lot more deep than any other gachas that are currently on the market. And it's the fun was actually going in blind and try to figure my way in. And you see a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff on the screen, and getting used to it, it's kind of half the journey is getting used to it, I guess. But I feel like I'm finally getting to the fun part, that is talking like I'm know what I'm talking about, I guess.
이 정도로 나와 고민할 때?
It looks hard, but basic at the core. Once you know what's what, it's kinda okay. But there is a lot to... Just having someone to ask the specifics helps? Yes, it helps a lot. It's kind of the same as... Do you ever play Monster Hunter? It's a pretty similar situation. Never, because if you do, you'll probably go for the new ones. The new ones have a lot of simplified mechanics that
싱겁네요.
they simplified a lot of stuff. They made it a lot more streamlined how they teach you the stuff the game actually requires you to do. If you play, I think 4 was the last one with the old format on the 3DS, the Generations one, I guess, from on Switch. That game, up to Generations, every single person I saw trying to play that game, that series actually, they give up because it's insanely complicated. But if you have a friend who knows how to play the game and he plays with you, it teaches the mechanics, it will probably become one of your favorite games. Because it's pretty deep, it's pretty hard, it's insanely complicated. But once you get to get used to how the game works, it's insanely fun. This game seems to be a similar case in how the mechanics are. They are really deep. They have a lot of convoluted mechanics, but once you get used to it, it's pretty simple to just go through them. Once you get used to them, you just look at the screen, you know what you're doing, it goes pretty fast, it's pretty fun. It's the same energy I'm feeling at this point at least, because I'm still learning how to play the game. And how much was it? Like the first half hour of this stream was me watching a video that was the better version of the tutorial for this game, because the game barely explains anything to you. And I feel even if I did finish, like how much was it? 2 entire chapters and the prologue, and like half the third chapter, I still learned like 3 to 4 new mechanics that I wasn't actually aware before watching the video. So the game has an insane amount of depth. and it requires you to, at this point at least, it's requiring me to actually learn how to play the game properly. But it's been pretty fun. The story is really, really good. And going through the mechanics, what I'm doing wrong, how to build my teams, it's been pretty fun. I did suffer through 7 years of Warframe. I haven't actually played Warframe. I've known people who played it a lot, and I've heard that the game actually changed a lot throughout the years.
투입합니다.
But I still know a few people who go in and out of it constantly. I'm really conflicted about playing Monster Hunter Wilds now, because my PC is gonna blow up if I try. I ran the benchmark and I barely got 60 FPS. So I don't really know if I should be even trying to stream that shit, because I know my PC is gonna blow up. You know, the game is insanely heavy. Insanely heavy. That's I'd say on a completely new level for PC hardware requirements. Even for Capcom, Wilds is pretty heavy. I play Monster Hunter World at least 90 FPS. At least 90 FPS. I can't really run 120, which is my monitor full refresh rate, but 90 is doable. My 3060 Ti can handle it. But Wilds is insane. Insane how much it's requiring the hardware to actually perform. I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to play it while streaming. At some point I might try to actually stream World. I have a save file that's kinda new, I guess. I finished like the first time I beat the Zora Magdaros, the big mountain enemy. I was playing with friends, and we kind of stopped playing after the Zora quest. And I still want to finish my playthrough. I also bought the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. I had the vanilla version. The Sunbreak was on a discount, so I bought it, but I still never played it. Rise is just I like Rise. It's not really my favorite, but I kinda like it. 90 damage. Unopposed, 51, 47, 59. I want to play them just because they are Monster Hunter. Can I give a tip on Princess? Do, please do. Today I'm learning, so I'm all in for the backseat. If it's about defending, I'm just forgetting about it. Have a nice tea, Tuna. Jesus Christ, how many enemies are there? Today is backseat day. Hopeless? What the fuck?
그대로 멈춰라.
Liquid generated results, the best way is to counter with clashable. Yes, I am slightly aware that her parry counter or something is nice, but I just forget how to use it or when to use it. Skill 1 isn't as good as the counter. When it's hoped to just drop the line and use defense, sure, I should be... right, I should be defending. Right. Thanks for the help. Because I should be paying attention to how it goes and what I should be doing to avoid losing clashes, and I am not doing them. This is actually great advice. 12. It's the same damage. 20. Dominating, favored.
갑니다.
Or ego if you have the results. Ego, I'm kinda on the low sides. I really should be getting new ones. I have the base ones, and usually I barely have any resources to use them. So now I can use Sinclair's one, and probably only Sinclair's. Yeah, I'm kinda aware of how bad my current state of egos is. 19, 18. $63. This is a lot of unopposed. 93?
적출할게요.
Welcome back, Tuna. You allow links? I don't usually let me
이 정도로 나와
D2.
이 정도로 나와 겁내면
What? Let me type your name first.
보다도 높이 솟아올랐어. 아니야, 이렇게 크게 웃으면
So you can send me the link now.
아름다움을
Four.
그리고 제 권속으로서의 품위도 잃지 않게 하자.
Okay, at least it's more for the same value. Oh boy. That's a lot of stuff. Holy shit. I'm gonna keep this link and try to read it later, I guess. No, this is a vanilla feature. Usually if you have a link restriction, you can use this kind of commands to allow people to post links without getting timed out. Wait. It's supposed to be you. The only thing I actually coded myself was the chat box you see on the stream. The rest is basically bot functions that they all have mostly.
어떤 조직 놈들인지
I usually just keep a few bots to auto-ban link spammers and a few other stuff that you can just make moderating the stream a lot easier if you don't have a mod team, I guess. So if I do this, I'm probably fine, right?
갑니다.
If I know I'm gonna be struggling, it's better to just defend. Heathcliff took a lot of damage. Hopeless? What are you doing? Holy shit. Also hopeless. What the fuck are you two doing? You guys can barely attack anything.
40
You can drop the line midway, the line was... Ooh,
먹칠.
I didn't know that. Let me try it here. Oh, it stays. Yeah, I didn't know how to do that. So unopposed, 25, 79, that kills. 18 dominating, struggling. Why? Why the fuck are you struggling? Hopeless. Ooh, people! Half my team is not fighting. What am I supposed to do here?
40
How didn't you know? I just didn't. I never tried it. I just, when I wanted to drop a line, I bring it down and the line disappears, so it resets.
추잡하네.
It's kind of... it just happens. 48, 50, 70, 44, struggling. Swell, neutral, unopposed. 51, 20.
무차지야!
완전히 녹아내렸네. 이 정도
Habit from an old game? Probably. Lower level means lower offense level means harder clash. Also true. Which is what I'm doing here. I'm going through the farming stage to increase my level. So it will become an issue until I actually manage to equal the footings. Neutral, struggling. Favored, struggling.
갑니다.
I still gotta look through a lot of stuff to...
결국
Come on, what's happening here? 2 staggers and 1 dead? Fuck my ass. This is really, really bad.
갑니다. 결국엔 멈춘다.
I think if I do manage to have a decent turn next time, I can beat them.
추잡하네.
And I forgot to use the... He has 6 bleeds, so Rhodia is going to parry twice. I really need her to take the bleed off Heathcliff. No, you. This one's you. She's got attack.
갑니다.
I think this is still doable. This is still doable.
예쁘네. 네 피분수.
Bury that. Bury. Oh, he barely survived. He took a few bleeds from him. He's still alive. And this is barely doable. Come on, come on, come on. I can parry one. Ah, shit. 50, 52, 29, 18, 12. Parry that. Everybody's on oppose. I think I win. I think I win.
이 정도로 나와 겁을 맞대? 이 정도로 나와 겁을 맞대?
Ishmael for the win! Just barely wins.
싱겁네요. 윗대가리가 죽었어.
I really gotta remember when to parry properly. With Rhodia, the princess. She can save my ass really nice. But I'm gonna be doing a lot of farming. Should I try to keep going through Canto 3, I guess? At least until I reach the next skill check, I guess. Another thing with Princess. Drop it. Just to get your hands on manager done. Empowering Scout it gives to my shields. If Priest is on field, who's manager done? This is not. I have the tier list right here. Manager Dawn is the Blood Fiend. Yeah, the manager of Manchaland. He's the insanely absurd units. I don't think I will be lucky to get him. Let's get her. If I do, I'll keep that in mind. Because my luck is barely existent. You can shard it. Oh, this season. Ooh. Oh boy. I have so much stuff to remember. Fuck my ass. I also have a. What is it again? Where do I see my login stuff? How do I see my login streak? Because I know I'm gonna get a ticket, a selector, I guess. Is it 14 days? I think. I don't go back. Go back where? Because I know there is a. No, it's not this one. There's line stuff on the right. No, not this one. Hello, new manager. Oh, this one. Yeah, this one. Nominable as one identity ticket. This one I can pick any season 1, right? Yeah, I'm almost there, so I'm kinda hyped to get a unit from here. And season 1 Eagle. I'm gonna get I need to get a few second opinions about this one because I still don't know who I'm gonna pick. Because I know this unit is insane. Kinda insane, both visual wise and skill wise. Sinclair seems to be really nice. Season 1 is Fluid Sack. Where are the Eagles? Wait, where are the Eagles? Oh, here. So I've heard a lot about Fluid Sack. Is it Fluid? Wait, it's not you. Is this one? Yeah, 15 SP, 15 HP, and 10 SP. Not Dons? No, I was trying to look for this one. Because I heard a lot of people saying this one actually is a big safety net. But it is for... Is it Faust? This is Faust, right? Because if I am getting a Eagle for Faust, is it better if I get Gripper Faust? Also, Gripper Emote? Does she synergize with my Bleed team? I guess? And since I'm going to be picking a Faust Eagle, it's probably best if I get both her counterparts, I guess. People also recommend getting the Qingtang Honglu. He seems to be really damage oriented, so I was kinda interested, but I can get him later if I need it. Because since I'm using all bleed, I'm kinda thinking of getting Gripper Faust and then Fluid Sack Eagle. Is this a good choice? I might get a second opinion sometimes when the day comes. But it seems to be a decent move. It's good? Yeah. I was pretty okay with the decision on my own. I might ask people about it soon, but I will do it when the day comes, I guess. Until now, I'm gonna be running the same old team.
뒤따르죠.
The Faust Eagle from Battle Pass. The Burning Faust one, I know she looks really great. The ID is really nice. She looks so cool. Sinclair's home was the largest mansion in the neighborhood, standing in the innermost part of town. One could see it from a distance that a huge flame was engulfing the estate. It took a moment to try and imagine what this town could have looked like during its peaceful times. To bring to mind that the times when the trees we saw near the town still had lush, verdant leaves. How Sinclair would have been during those times. Or when everyone around him had died. I couldn't paint a clear picture of either happiness or despair. Nonetheless, I only hope that Sinclair can brace himself for the misfortune he'll soon have to face. This is awful, to say the least. A courtyard that could have been once been a vast, flourishing garden was now full of nails erected tall. A variety of prosthetic bodies were pierced by those towering nails. Oh, the gripper! The house was enveloped in a ferocious flame, ready to consume everything around it. While everyone's attention was drawn to the prostheses, Sinclair's eyes drifted to a corner of the yard. The graves, they're dug up.
파헤쳐져 있어.
Following his gaze, I could only see 3 graves that were violated. This is family. Sinclair's expression alone was enough for me to, and all other sinners, to guess who they were for. Oh boy. To execute the dead, this is nothing short of a devil's work. Father, mother, and sister. The family he mentioned, that's where they should be resting.
잠깐.
Halt! One uniform, straight ahead. That whistling. Oh, the gripper! The gripper! I mean, it's just too funny when you think about it. Someone walked out of the burning household. Her laugh was simply sinister in every way imaginable. Why put so much effort into burying bodies that can even rot? Am I right? Kuroma. I'm sure you'll find them around somewhere if you look hard enough. I do remember nailing those 3. Be a good boy and I might just tell you where they are. Well, Sinclair, you've grown a spine coming all the way here. She's a kruma. Enough of one to look at the few dead bodies too, right? Enough of one to look at few dead bodies. Wait, just why all this? A groomer. No, not a groomer. Don't make me a groomer. No. Sinclair couldn't even speak properly.
비포팀들은 어디 간 거지?
What did all our B4 team get up to? They've got to turn up at this point. Ah, Sinclair's got some buddies. Looking for the other filthy redless that snuck up in here? Oh, no. Okay, watch closely. I'll turn on the lights. Open your eyes wide. Oh, boy. He's still alive. Effie was barely breathing. His limbs had been cut away and the foreign prosthetics were crudely lodged in their place. Oh, what the fuck? They cut off his limbs and put prosthetics in the place and then impaled him. Holy shit. Effie! He was too mutilated to even speak a word. In his current state, it would take around 2 days for him to completely die. And the pole piercing through him will only amplify his suffering. Then, manager, I happen to know of a method to end a life with as little pain as possible. It's one that saw many uses, in fact. What is being sympathetic? It's kinda strange. May I ask you to give me the order? I looked to both Gregory and Ishmael. They gazed back at me, and as if in acknowledgement, dropped their heads low and bit their lips. I understood what that meant. Rest in peace. The collar of Otis' clothes brushed against the wind. Then silence. And it's then broken by Chroma's roaring laughter. She's kinda weird. But it's cool, I guess. She's wider than I thought. for some reason. The crazy eyes, man. The crazy eyes. At the same time, I could hear something else break. The mouth, that smile is insanely creepy. Really? It's hilarious to watch you all care for each other when you all meet the same fate anyway. Brings you back, doesn't it, Sinclair? As Golden Bough. B-O-U-G-H, I think? I still don't know what bow means, but I just read it. Your face back then was real priceless. Chroma, you have to die. Yeah, I think that's the right way. Oh, he's broken. You die by my... He was interrupted by the sound of a nail dragging across the floor. Bao just means mean a tree branch, I see. It's just a polite way to say it, I think. It's Guido. Didn't we kill Guido? We thought we had felled him at our best, but not a scratch was on his body now. It was as if all his injuries healed in that short time. Seeing him walk toward us in perfect condition fatigued the sinners. Rendered speechless, all they can muster from their hearts is a deep groan of contempt. Guido, why couldn't you take out the others? Forgive my ineptitude, O one who grips. My incompetence allowed them to escape. You have to stay alert. You never know what's hidden under those cursed steel craniums. I shall keep your word at heart, O one who grips. Since the reunion is over, I'll be heading back. Chroma turns around to walk into the burning mansion. Get back here! I swear, I'll grab you with my hand and... Nope, Sinclair. It's always been the other way around. A long smirk dances across Chroma's entire face. It's hard to tell if it's the violent blaze or Chroma's vice that is consuming the other. And then... I am the one who grips. She is the one who grips. Yeah, I've realized when I saw the Team 10 Games boss version of the characters that the skins are basically what if X character was the NPC, I guess. So when you see Gripper Faust, it's just Faust role playing as the Gripper. What the f... Stop struggling! Holy shit! And Sinclair's guard is insanely bad. I don't really know if it's roleplay or something, because I still gotta... The few units I have, only Ishmael is uptight, and I kinda don't want to watch the dialogue. I've heard people say most of these upties are spoilers, so I was trying to avoid them. $84, $41. That's one way of saying it. On spoilers are big seasons. 4. I'm going pretty cautiously through the game. when I finish a few more Cantos, I might look a bit more into the lot of the things. Seasonal IDs, I don't know which one. It's like the Walpurgis ones. It's the because I saw Walpurgis units, you can't craft them. Walpurgis are fine, so those are not the ones. So if those are not, I really don't know which one are. Just previous game cameos. I see. See you later, Tuna. I will probably be ending soon. So if you're not, if I'm not live when you come back, it's okay. See you soon then. List of the spoiler ones? No, I'm fine. I will be looking into a lot more of the game later, because I'm kind of getting into it, and learning about it seems to be part of the process, I guess. I don't really know. I mean, let me check something here, because I've noticed something from the tier list. They have a few like yield flesh to claim their bones. This is the event I'm doing right now. Is this seasonal or not? GLL fun? Yes, this one. Let me... where is it? Let me put it on the screen, this one. So which of these filters are the... Or it's not a filter? Oh, seasons. Season 1 orientation. I see. These are spoilers, right? Not really. There is a lot of stuff here. There is way too much about the game that I should look into. $39, 14, dominating. Sinclair, come on. Motherfucker only loses. Yeah, I've noticed the IDs based on villains are usually related to the story. I try not to pay too much attention to them, just so I can not be spoiled by too much, I guess. Because I will notice if certain names do appear in the story. Because I didn't know how to the meme about the gripper before actually playing the game. Because the people who are streaming and actually convinced me to stream the game were the ones making the memes. So I knew about this one and barely anything else. So anything that's actually happening From Canto 2 forward, I know nothing about. I knew a few stuff about Canto 1, but now it's a completely open field. I know nothing I'm doing. 19? $57, $79, $47, $49, $11, $22. To go 10. What the fuck is hopeless? Motherfucker. The rolls are insanely bad. The Kuroko ID story was great for people who played Library of Reina. One day I'll play it. I'll try to play it.
네 피분수?
He actually won the Hopeless Clash. My boy.
갑니다.
Sometimes Honlu really does the job. If someone manages to win a Hopeless Clash,
개인 정도 이 정도로 나와 겁을 맞대?
has so many references based on yeah, I'm aware.
싱겁네요. 윗대가리가 죽었으니 이제 당신들도 우리 조직 밑에서
I forgot to check my 40-40-20, so it's already 100%. How much does the correction? How does the events drop works? I have 2 units with 40%, 1 unit with 20%. Does this makes the currency drop every time or 100% more? Because I saw both of the systems at different games. Caps out 100%, sorry, percent. No, it gives currency. No, I'm meaning, this 100%, this 120% you're talking about. Is it 120%? It's not. It's probably value, right? If it was 100%, it will drop every battle. Or of what you get, right? It's a number. So I should be using this motherfucker here to cap the 120%. This motherfucker is really weak. I don't like him at all. Even though he's bleed. He's just weak. Every time I saw him fight, he's always either losing or barely doing damage. So I'm kind of conflicted with using him. And this stage is 27. Oh boy, I'm gonna get fucked this time. I think this will be it. Because I don't think I'll be beating this at all. I'll need to like... You need to use them. They can sit back. Yeah, but Honlu is the one I'm using. Coincidentally, he's actually my last unit. I don't have anyone else I can use besides Honlu. Either the bleed variety or the rupture. variety. He's both the best units I can use. That's the issue. Or he's uptie. I'm not uptying this one at all. I'm gonna get the one of the grippers pretty fucking soon, or he's gonna go away. Leave it or use a support. What the fuck is level 50? Holy shit. That is too much. Dude, level 50s. Stop. Come on. I need to have at least some difficulty fighting. Look at this. Ah, come on. Yeah, this is not it. I cannot use any supports because people are just going to break my playthrough. No. What is this doing here? Now this is too much. This is too much. Yeah, I know I can leave them out the field since I'm using the Otis. Oh, I can leave the support out of the field. I see. That is actually a decent suggestion that I did not read at all. So this is now 120. But I can use this one back.
언제든지요.
80, hundreds, 120. I don't know, man. People might like base Sinclair, I guess. The people who decided to actually add me for some reason did that. So different stroke for different folks, I guess. So will I lose? I will probably be wasted here. Level 20. I am not really sure if I should be leveling these units now. I have 3 XP tickets, dude. 3. This isn't even a level. I wanted to use them for the new units I'm gonna get pretty soon. I think after this one resets, I have a few hours until the resets. So tomorrow at the same time, I'm gonna be getting a Season 1 000. And I think I'm gonna be getting Gripper Faust, because she will synergize with my team. And I can, at day 14, get the Fluid Sac Eagle, which is pretty insane. And I cannot use... Let me... Please be light blue, please be light blue. It's dark blue. Fuck my ass. Fuck my ass. I cannot use Fluid Sac. Who's gonna be using light blues? Nobody has light blues. What is this? I'm all planning about how to make my life easier, but I don't have any units who use them. Isang, Mersol, and Gregor. Who will be the one to let me actually cast the eagle? No, you are fine. Skill 3 is envy. Skill 3 is lust. Oh shit. Skill 3 is sloth. Fuck my ass. I cannot cast the eagle. What do I do then? I have 3 units that I cannot take off at all. If I do pick Faust, she also cannot generate the resources for me to use the eagle. So I will be forced to actually use base Gregor for this. I am... And fuck my ass. Ah, shit. Come on, I just wanna be happy. I will have to hold on to it for no reason. God damn it. He's going crazy. Hey, wait. Sinclair leapt forth to chase Chroma before anyone could stop him. However, he's blocked by the remaining Corp Inquisitors. In response, he swings his weapon, with a tremendous force I never thought he could exert, crushing the head of the one who grabbed him. The Inquisitor collapses to the ground before even a gasp could escape their mouth. Sinclair would normally keep to the back of our group. This was the first time I saw him charge unprompted like that. What the hell have you been dawdling in the back for if you could do that? I remember with clarity that I had ended your lives. What? It was you who died. I undoubtedly witnessed torn brain tissue spill through the cracks in your skulls. Why died? Wait, who died then? Am I going crazy? I guess we died and revived? I barely remember what happened yesterday. You're not the one to complain about miraculous recoveries. So we fought, we died, but we revived, but his head's taking no damage at all now. Guido examines me closely with his piercing glare. He then slowly nods as if his observation gave me the knowledge he needed. You there, the one possessing the head of a heretic. You must be the false shepherd enticing this herd into blasphemy. He proceeds to nudge his chin at the nailed corpses in the courtyard. They committed the grave sin of entering the site of hallowed rites with the unclean bodies. Thus, they have been punished with the same penalty as heretics receive. They have also been subjected to the humiliation of bodily mechanical intrusions being installed against their will. But you are different. The sin of worshipping a heretic is less severe than indulging in heresy in oneself. Therefore, as long as you are willing to repent and cleanse your minds of sin, we, the Hammer, are willing to demonstrate forgiveness. So I implore you, ye pitiable foolish sinners, led astray by temptation, shake off the allure of that false miracle and kneel before me. The confrontation came to a standstill. No one seemed willing to speak first. So you've all been under my spell or something all along? Who'd thought that? I tried cracking a joke to lighten the mood a little, but no one laughed. Dante, that man, he just insulted you. He doesn't even see you as a human being. I mean, you guys call me Clockface all the time too. It's not the same at all. Besides, I've never used that nickname. Ishmael grunted.
그럴듯한 말만.
So you think throwing some fancy words around will be enough to persuade us, eh?
빠져나와야
Listen up, faceplate. You're the one who needs a little shaking off. Seems to me your human's brain is just as defective.
기회는
You are
충분하게
given ample opportunity.
그대들 또한
You are no different from those we hung and nailed after all.
나는
I am a hammer.
쥐는 작게
I am a tool for the one who grips, tasked with the great mission of piercing the false flesh of heretics.
내 너희를
I shall bind thee to a nail, and lay thee down furthest from soil.
죄를
For he who shan't repent. Oi, when are you gonna finish the stupidly long taunt?
흙으로도 돌아가
Is not granted rest beneath the earth. He has a prayer for every time he kills somebody, I guess. And I'm probably gonna lose, because my level is really on the low side for this battle. Sinclair! Oh, his level. I should have realized his level is really low. Which is why he's struggling all the time. Both he and Honglu. Yeah, they need levels as soon as possible. And it's for this team is really not the, how do I say this? I really can't give them levels right now. Wait, favorites? Sure. I guess the rest of my day will be XP farming all day long and try to upgrade the units that will be staying, and in the next few days try to 17. The rolls are decent, but the damage is gonna be less than favorable. She's gonna... Okay, so I can swap this one. Background looks sick. Now that you've mentioned it, it's really cool.
다시 먹지.
They resist slash. I forgot to check them. But I could have... I could have noticed, but I didn't. Oh boy. Yeah, Sinclair is almost dead already. I need to... Gotta say though, the OST is going bonkers.
그대로 멈춰라.
I don't know why the music in this game goes so hard. They always go way too hard for anything. Unopposed. Okay, dominating. Can do 13, 19. This is probably okay.
고귀하게
The issue would probably, if I have to kill
40.
the Sinclair ID is pretty weak, yeah. He's also low level, he's probably my lowest level. Oh, he's dead. I didn't even notice he dying. $77, $56, $13, $19, $20, $14, $39.
갑니다.
I'm doing a half-half here. Half my team is bleed, half my team is rupture. Mostly from lack of options.
술을 마실걸?
내 피분수.
Even then, he's probably better on the bench instead of this field. I have no idea who I should be using on his stats. Base Sinclair? I will probably check him then. 52, 53, 17. You will power counter. Oh, this will be a draw. Uh, 14. Yeah, this one is bad. Unopposed, okay. I know that Sinclair is on the low side.
40.
I still don't have anybody else to use. When
이 정도로 나와 겁내면 안 돼?
when the selector comes around, I will replace probably that Sinclair. Honlu at least has a few usage, being a high HP unit. He's also Rupture, but Rupture has barely any space on my team right now. The Princess and Honlu being the only ones using actually using Rupture. This is fine. 79. $45. 15, it's okay. $19. But I should go back here. 16, 14. Wait, this one. This is a 10, I most likely win. This one is unopposed, dominating 39. This should still be doable. Should leave that place empty. Which is something I've learned today. But is it worth to leave a place empty? It might be, actually. That is a nice idea. That is actually a nice idea. I will consider it. Am I winning? Actually winning for some reason. I'm just managing my numbers.
겁내면 안 돼?
And I beat him. I'm actually impressed how well my team is doing. being absolutely underleveled. The Kurokumo IDs are really, really impressive. I don't doubt 1 second that I shouldn't be doing this nice if I wasn't using both the Kurokumo units. So my 1,000 tickets to the Heathcliff units was chef's kiss for me, chef's kiss. The ground shook as Guido finally fell. I couldn't help but wonder if we really did him in, yet we were too exhausted to bother and take his helmet off to check his breathing. The boy is done. The boy is done. He's going completely insane. You have the princess can buff him. Does she? I still cannot really fathom how much can she do. You know, I know she does a lot, but I still am not really up to speed of how much is she that good. Because I knew she was pretty strong, but I still don't know how much. Sinclair was repeatedly jabbing his head on a dead Inquisitor. The corpse was mangled beyond recognition, its blood and organs spilling all over the floor. Sinclair, calm down. He didn't seem to care about anything other than the body he was set out to destroy. Occasional pants of rage and tearful gasps were all that came out of his mouth. I'll kill them all. I knew stopping him was the right thing to do, but no one dared to step in. It was evident that he was too blinded by ire to listen to us. I know a way most simple to bring him back to senses. Oh no, she's gonna... boy. At that, Don Quixote suddenly jumped Sinclair and pinned him down to the ground. And then... Holy shit! He started laying into his face! I gotta bring her up. She has to have her moments every single day. One piece thrown after the other. I have the Don't Dance emote now. I don't dance. Why did it disappear? Is this one? You have to use Don't Dance with the capital D. You can check if you check on the bottom of my channel. There is a list of the emotes available and their names. It's all listed there. Oh, shouldn't we do something? Leave him be. A couple calves tussling isn't worth intervening. A cloud of dust rose from her ruthless beating. After a while, Don Quixote cut her onslaught. Pray tell, how dost thou feel now? He's crying, dude. Pardon my rash action. Oft I would find myself overcome by fervor, rampaging much as the same as a riderless horse. At such moments, mine old friends help me come to myself by beating me senseless. Oh, because Virgilius did this to her. She fucked it up and he beat her. So she now is beating people just the same. It was at times the only remedy to the fever that had me overtaken me. Aha, so in that sense, Virgilius must be a good friend of yours, too, right? Well, He's crying. The dude's crying. Tears blink down from Sinclair's bruised eyes. I'll get her for this. I'll go to my home and skewer that bitch. I'll skewer her with a stake. And then... The rest of his sentence was overrun with pain sobbing. After a while of sniffling, Sinclair finally seemed to calm down as he put a hand to his face and started muttering. I lost everything overnight. Back then, they didn't parade their Nagel und Hammer name around. You didn't see large groups like that in the open. But at some point, people calling themselves Hammers started showing up in town, one by one, and... It's okay, kiddo. No need to push yourself. Rudia gently patted him on the back. I still think that sometimes this is all just a bad dream, and I'm having trouble waking up. It always comes every morning before I open my eyes. Maybe this time I'll wake up and see my familiar ceiling. Just maybe. I've read a lot of manga like this, dude. One day, dude, one day. After he said that, he broke into tears. It only made sense to wait for him to settle down. It's kinda on track. That's not really. I'm talking bullshit here. Because Gregor's Past was Canto 1. But Canto 2 was Rhodia's Past. Now it's Sinclair's Present. So it's not fully his past. Rhodia didn't even do shit. It was barely a Canto for her. I can barely agree that they did anything to develop her character. That Canto 2 isn't nearly a payoff that should be considered, I guess. Okay, Tuna, see you again. Have a good night. At least that's how I felt. Yeah, I really understand it. The thing with Canto 2... Wait, what? Oh, this is bad. This is really, really bad. Canto 2 isn't bad. It's just not a story you should be taking seriously. At least, like, if the Canto 2 has like 19 notes, you only take seriously from like nodes, I don't know, 17? Before, like, up until the poker game, it's a complete disaster of a plan, I guess. It's a complete filler arc that you can just watch for laughter. It's a comedy story. And then they introduce Sonia, was it? The guy from Rhodia's Past. And he basically introduces himself as a DX, right? Introduces himself, does a few shit, kinda becomes a villain, and then does nothing. the amount of things that they intended to do but did nothing with at that last dungeon and the few last chapters were insane. They introduce a bunch of characters they don't use. They tease a big ass boss that does nothing and won't even appear.
그대로
They didn't even show the full body of the big monster. You just run away from it. You fight a bunch of small fries and the chapter ends. I really didn't see. I must question what they were trying to do there. Can I just? I think I can.
멈춰라.
My idea from Canto 2 was like they were planning to do a lot of stuff. Did they pommel Sinclair to death while I was talking? Holy shit, it just dies. So, Canto 2, I felt like they were trying to do a lot of stuff. They were planning to do a lot of stuff, but when it came down to it, they just... I think they just didn't have the technology to do either doing the battles, or they figured it out they couldn't do it way too late. So it just became a... Baba Yaga is the time limit stage, I think. I'll never stay in that stage long enough to see what happens. Is it? I was just pressing buttons, I guess. I really didn't understand what was happening. So I thought it was a incomplete mechanic, but if you take long enough, I don't know. It is time. So this will be it for me. The boss steps on you and you die, I see. I wish they actually made the boss a battle. It would be a lot better. In any case, this is my time. I need to end the stream right now. Thanks y'all for watching. It was a really fun talk. It was really fun to actually learn how to play the game. Watching the tutorial and stuff. But I don't know if I'll be streaming Limbus tomorrow, unless I feel comfortable to actually clear Canto 3. Because I need to, well, probably fine with this much. I think it will be fine. I think it will be fine. In any case, thanks y'all for watching. See you all tomorrow, next time, I guess.